Okay, so this is what's going on, fam. Your favorite, fam. Your fave. Look at that face right there. Somebody got a raise. Somebody got a promotion. Uber Russia hawk Victoria Nuland rises to acting deputy secretary of state, fam. She's done as much as anyone to sour the U.S.-Russia ties. Now, she is one of Washington's top diplomats. So it didn't just stop with Elliot Abrams, fam. It went right on to Vicki Nuland as she got promoted. Let's just jump into it. We'll read three quick paragraphs, and then we'll discuss it. In a little remarked move, the Biden administration announced Monday that Vicki Nuland will take over as acting second in command at the State Department. She replaces Wendy Sherman, who plans to retire at the end of this week. Nuland's appointment will be a boon for Russian hawks who want to turn up the heat on the Kremlin. I think it was meant boom, not boon. But for those who favor a negotiated end to the conflict in Ukraine, a promotion for the notoriously undiplomatic diplomat will be a bitter pill. A few quick reminders are in order. When Vicki Nuland was serving in the Obama administration, she had a now infamous leaked call with the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine as the Maidan uprising roiled the country. The pair of American diplomats discussed conversations with opposition leaders, and Nuland expressed support for putting Arseniy Yatsenyuk into power. Yatsenyuk would become the prime minister later that month after the Russian-friendly former president Viktor Yanukovych fled the country. At one memorable point in the call, Nuland said, "Fuck the EU," in response to Europe's softer stance on the protest, fam. That's all you need to know, because from there, it was puppet government. It was Azov Battalion. It was EU, West. It was let's go kill the people in the Donbass. That was the moment she got caught. It wasn't smoking gun evidence, fam. It was bazooka evidence. And guess what? I think it was our third or fourth show on the Convo couch in our history where we started that we were talking about this very situation right here.
Yeah, I mean, this is Victoria Nuland getting a promotion is perfect embodiment of U.S. Warmonger policies. The more warmongering of just individual psychopath you are, the more awards you get, and the more status you get, and the higher the office and the higher the pay. So this really just encapsulates where the U.S. is at, and the fact that Victoria Nuland is a free woman, that she's not in prison, really it's just a joke at this point.
Married to Robert Kagan, by the way, neocon from the good old Reagan days. And fam, there's something I found up online too as well. In 2010, I have a little video right now of the Russian Federation, the Belarusians, and the Ukrainians all marching together. And because they are brothers and sisters, they're right there. Take a look. And then came Vicki Nuland.
Очолюють колону зведеного парадного батальйону командир окремого полку президента України.
Військовослужбовці окремого Київського орденоносного полку президента України та 45-го гвардійського окремого полку спеціального призначення повітряно-десантних військ Збройних сил Російської Федерації разом крокують повз трибуни. Очолюють колону полковник Віктор Плахтій та гвардії підполковник Вадим Гриднєв.
Проходять підготовку близько 3000 курсантів і більше 250 слухачів всіх видів збройних сил та інших силових.
До трибуни наближається парадний розрахунок Військової академії Республіки Білорусь. Символічним є те, що у травні 45-го року саме війська першого українського та першого білоруського фронтів завершили розгром гітлерівських військ у Берліні. Сьогодні, як і 65 років тому, онуки і правнуки впевнено крокують пліч-о-пліч.
So you could see, fam, Russians and Ukrainians marching together. Can you translate for us, please? Thank you.
So just for clarification, by 2005, the Orange Revolution had already begun. So there's always been a division between East Ukraine and West Ukraine, but nothing really did it until the 2014 Maidan Revolution, or the Maidan coup, where basically that was like the last peace with the intelligence apparatus involved. And like a lot of people since then, of course, died in the Donbass, especially children. And so even though there have always been issues because of the way the lines were divided, because of the beliefs of some of the people that literally fled to Ukraine being Nazis, that was going to be an issue anyway. But the United States, what they do is they go and exploit a situation of division, and then they take it to the next level. And that's what they did. And that's what Victoria Nuland was instrumental in doing, really.
Yes. And by the way, I don't want to leave out the Republicans. I don't want to just make it all about Victoria Nuland and the Obama administration with the Clintons and those, the Blinkens and the Sullivans, because that's the whole clan over there. Because it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Lindsey Graham, who's still out there screaming like a bastard. There's a hot spot in hell for that dude, along with McCain, who went down there with Senator Murphy while Soros-funded media, and I know I'm not just throwing out Soros as a buzzword, but in Ukraine it is very true. Independent Soros-funded media, which pushed for this revolution, was taking place. I mean, it was a whole team effort. It was the empires all together, Republicans, Democrats, other oligarchs. That, I'm saying it was a team effort over here, and it was the empire who made it possible for what's going on today.
100%, man.
And we'll get out of here with this section over here. We have RFK. This is what he said. And once again, my friend, called me, and she says, listen, it was great with the Hannity thing, because now she's on with Hannity, and you have these guys who are still trying to push, like, Anderson Cooper. It's like all these, Ukrainians are freedom fighters. It's the Russians that are awful. I think there was somebody who made a statement, said like the Russians tried to bomb civilians the other day or some shit we were talking about. I'd like to get more details on that. But this is the things they like about RFK versus the things they didn't like in the second venue. So take a look. This is RFK going back and forth with Sean Hannity, who probably has that CIA lapel on his chest. Get that volume up in this one.
Design of agreement.
So Ukraine, to appease Putin, who I think is evil, they've already given up Crimea. It was annexed. So what? They have to give up the Donbass area.
The Ukraine, because of our pushing the Ukraine into the war on two occasions. We
pushed them into it, or did Putin?
Well, let me tell you. Let me answer your question.
Yeah.
In 2019. Yes. France, Germany, and Russia all agreed to the Minsk Accords. That year, Zelensky ran for president. He was a comedian, he had no political experience. Why did he win? Because he ran on one issue, signing the Minsk Accords. As soon as he got in there, Victoria Nuland and the White House told him he couldn't do it. Then Putin sends 40,000 troops in. That's not enough to conquer the country. Clearly, he wanted us to come to the negotiation. He wanted somebody to come to the negotiating table. Zelensky came to the negotiating table, signed a new agreement that was the Minsk Accords 2 in 2022, and that would have allowed Donbass to stay, and Lugansk to remain as part of Ukraine. We said, Putin signed it, Zelensky initialed it, and Putin, in good faith, began withdrawing troops from the Ukraine. What happened? We sent Boris Johnson over there to torpedo it, because we don't want peace we want the war with Russia.
Why are you blaming America's role in this?
Fam, I'm gonna let you do. I know how it's kind of like hypocritical what he's doing when you talk about his stance on Israel and how it all is together and stuff, but I do believe for a comatose, low, politically educated nation that is important. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. It's even still, I've never supported Donald Trump, but when Donald Trump called out the Bushes for what they did in Iraq, I thought it was important. When Trump talked about getting rid of NATO, even though he was probably phony on it, that's important because it's a whole bunch of people, conservatives now going, we need to get NATO, when they were always pro-NATO. You know what I'm saying? There's importance to these conversations being had. And what he said right there, I think, was really important. And that's why I wanted to highlight it.
It seems to me that he's sort of changed his stance, probably being advised on Russia, Ukraine to be a lot more knowledgeable on it, because the issue of being anti sending weapons to Ukraine has become mainstream and popular, and a lot of people have done that. And sort of, especially on the right, they've made it like the issue they talk about a lot. And so I think that's a tactical issue more than anything, because of the way he spoke about Putin before, and the way he spoke about the conflict, and the way his son or nephew went to fight in Ukraine. And so I do think that this is sort of like a shift for political motivation. However, yeah, I mean, he's right, but it's also the tip of the iceberg, what he said. Obviously, he's not going to be as knowledgeable on it as I would want him to be. But again, nobody really running is, including Cornel West.
You'll never hear Trump say that stuff. You'll never hear Trump say that stuff. And there's a lot of people who are now looking at Kennedy as their next option compared to Trump. Like I said, the majority of people who support RFK, when he drops out, they're not going to go to Biden or Gavin Newsom, who might be running for him as well. I should have probably shared that tweet today. They're going to go to Donald Trump. And he's opening eyes and ears with those comments. You'll never hear Trump say that shit. You'll never hear Trump say that shit. And that shit was great. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, I think it was milquetoast, but I think it was better than what other people are saying, which is why it seems great by comparison. He's really, he really didn't talk about the fact that, the people of Donbass and the people of Crimea wanted to be a part of Russia for a long time. Yeah. And so what my issue is overall with US politics, it's so dumbed down. Like, I'm sorry. It is just so dumbed down. And like, it's like we're begging people to be like half comatose, and so they're passable. And I just think that if I am aware of these issues, if a lot of our viewers are aware of these issues, I just don't want to settle for somebody that's like half aware of them. And like, unfortunately, though, you're right in terms of the population of the United States, they don't know crap. And I'm sorry, that's just reality, but it's by design, obviously. In a way, they are victims, but in another way now, the population has become also responsible in some way for this, because there's just like to a certain point, there's internet, there's things you can do to choose to look outside of what you're being told on mainstream media, and a lot of people really know that there's something wrong. They just don't care to fix it because they're overwhelmed or whatever the case may be. It's just too much, and so I do think like I think that's why the politics of the United States is so disappointing, because it's just so surface based. Even when somebody is touted as being amazing, it's like, no, that's just like literally the tip of the iceberg, but thank you for doing that, because everyone else is just god awful on it. So he looks like miles ahead by comparison.
I'm not making excuses, but we are also in the United States the most propagandized country out there. That's why I think that more than anything, the biggest issue is censorship. Once you take away our voices, then forget about it. Everything is lost. And when you control information, then everything's lost. Even the Truthers fam and this is Courtney Turner, she said it the other day, it's like, that, a lot of the conservatives have to realize that the populist right or anybody out there, their guns don't mean shit. You're not going to fight yourself out of a technological jail. And it's the first thing they're doing is controlling the voice, the narrative, and the words there. That's the biggest problem. And that's why we have to fight through. I mean, look what they're doing to us right now, guys. I mean, we have 220 people watching on YouTube, completely demonetized, out of the algorithm. People tell us they don't get the bells all the time. That same shit's happening on a regular basis. We used to get a couple thousand watching us. And, they're going to continue to do that to anybody they can. You know what I'm saying? They're going to anybody who tells the truth will get silenced. And that is one of the biggest issues out there. It's even something that Julian Assange's dad said. The First Amendment is one of the most important. We need the First Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I also think there's also a comfort level that that you have in it, and not you
Absolutely.
personally, but
Yeah.
the American people have experienced
justification for everybody's lifestyle and their toys because they want to believe. Exactly. There's a justification, and there's a purposely, not looking and turning a blind eye because it justifies their living status the way it is right now. You can't justify your living status if you understand what the empire is doing, and you battle back against what the empire is doing. But if you justify what the empire is doing, then you can justify your privileges here in America. And you're absolutely right, fam. I don't want to take away that either, because I meet people on both ends, and there's people who told us in Nicaragua, it's like, no, there's a lot of those people that you are speaking. They know what's going on in Latin America. They just choose to accept it because it justifies everything they have here at home. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.